Dr. Ha-Yun Kim never wanted to be on the front lines of the war. She was a trauma surgeon with the United Earth Medical Corps. Her job was to heal people, not fight. The Earth government assigned her to the medical ship Mercy's Hand. This ship was supposed to stay far behind the fighting, where it would be safe. The Mercy's Hand was a large white vessel with a red cross painted on both sides. Inside, it had 20 operating rooms and beds for 300 patients. Ha-Yun had worked there for 3 years. She liked her job. She saved lives. That was enough for her. But everything changed when the Vraxians attacked the Centauri colonies. No one saw them coming. The Vraxians were an alien species from a distant part of the galaxy. They had 4 eyes, stood nearly 2 meters tall, and had skin that looked like polished stone. Their ships were huge and shaped like sea creatures from Earth's oceans. On that terrible day, Ha-Yun was performing surgery on a young soldier with a head injury. Her hands moved carefully as she repaired damaged blood vessels in his brain. The surgery was going well. The soldier would live. Then the first blast hit the ship. The Mercy's Hand shook violently. The lights flickered. Ha-Yun grabbed the edge of the operating table to stay on her feet. "What was that?" asked the nurse beside her. The ship's alarm began to wail. Red emergency lights came on. "Everyone stay calm," Ha-Yun said. Her voice was steady, even though her heart was racing. "Finish what you're doing. Prepare all patients for possible evacuation." She looked down at the soldier on her table. His surgery was nearly complete. She had to finish. She kept working as the ship shook again and again. Captain Lee ran into the operating room. His uniform was torn and dirty. Blood ran down his face from a cut on his forehead. "Doctor, we're under attack," he said. "The Vraxians came out of nowhere. They've disabled our engines." "We're a medical ship," Ha-Yun said. "We're protected under the space treaty. We're not a military target." Captain Lee shook his head. "They don't care. They're boarding us now. They're taking people prisoner." Ha-Yun finished the final stitches on her patient's head. "Why would they want prisoners from a medical ship?" "I don't know. But they're heading this way. You need to—" A loud explosion cut off his words. The wall behind him blew apart in a shower of metal and sparks. Captain Lee fell forward, a piece of metal sticking out of his back. Ha-Yun rushed to help him, but she knew it was too late. He was dead. Through the hole in the wall came 3 tall figures. They wore white armor that covered them from head to toe. Each carried a weapon that glowed with blue energy. Their helmets had 4 eye holes that shone with yellow light. The Vraxians had arrived. Ha-Yun stood up slowly. She raised her hands to show she had no weapons. "This is a medical facility," she said. "These people are wounded. They need help." The lead Vraxian stepped forward. When it spoke, a device on its armor translated its clicking language into human words. "You are the chief medical officer," it said. It wasn't a question. "I am Dr. Ha-Yun Kim, head of surgery," she replied. "You will come with us," the Vraxian said. "Your medical knowledge is valuable." Ha-Yun looked around the operating room. There were 5 patients and 3 nurses. All looked terrified. "I can't leave my patients," she said. "They'll die without care." The Vraxian turned to one of its companions and made a series of clicking sounds. The second alien raised its weapon and pointed it at the nearest patient. "No!" Ha-Yun shouted. "Stop, I'll come with you. Just don't hurt them." The Vraxian lowered its weapon. "A wise choice, Doctor." Ha-Yun looked at the head nurse. "Jin, take care of them," she said. "Do what you can." Jin nodded, tears in her eyes. "We will, Doctor. Stay safe." The Vraxians surrounded Ha-Yun and led her out of the operating room. As they walked through the corridors of the ship, Ha-Yun saw the bodies of her friends and colleagues. Some were dead. Others were wounded and crying for help. The Vraxians ignored them all. Ha-Yun wanted to stop and help the wounded, but the aliens pushed her forward. "Please," she begged, "let me help them." "They are not our concern," the lead Vraxian said. "You are." They reached the docking bay, where a Vraxian shuttle waited. Through the large windows, Harun could see outside. Her heart sank at the sight. 5 massive Vraxian warships surrounded the Mercy's hand. They were huge, at least 10 times the size of the medical ship. Their hulls seemed to pulse with inner light, like they were alive. Beyond the ships, Ha'un could see the Centauri colony. Large parts of it were on fire. The Vraxians were attacking the colony too. The aliens forced Ha'un onto their shuttle. Inside, they pushed her into a seat and locked restraints around her wrists and ankles. She couldn't move. A new Vraxian approached her. This one wore different armor, black instead of white. It studied her closely with its 4 yellow eyes. "I am Commander Taz," it said. "You are now property of the Vraxian Dominion." "I am not property," Ha'un said. "I am a doctor. I help people. Yes, you will help us now." "What do you want from me?" Commander Taz made a sound that might have been a laugh. "We have been studying humans for some time. Your bodies are weak, but your medical techniques are interesting. You will teach us, and if I refuse, then we will learn by taking you apart piece by piece." The shuttle detached from the Mercy's hand and flew toward one of the large warships. As they approached, Ha'un saw that the hull of the warship really was alive. It pulsed and moved like the skin of some enormous animal. "What is that ship made of?" she asked. "It is grown, not built," Commander Taz said. "Living metal and flesh combined. Much like what you will become." Ha'un didn't understand what that meant, but it filled her with dread. The shuttle docked with the warship. The Vraxians unstrapped Ha'un and forced her to stand. Before they let her out, one of them pressed a device against her neck. She felt a sharp pain, then a cold feeling spreading through her body. "What was that?" she asked, her words starting to slur. "Preparation," Commander Taz said. "Sleep now, Doctor. When you wake, your new life begins." As the drug took effect, Ha'un's last thoughts were of Earth, of her family, and of all the patients she had left behind. She had become a doctor to save lives. Now she wondered if she would ever save another life again, or if she would even remain human. The darkness took her, and Ha'un Kim, the human doctor, disappeared into the depths of the Vraxian warship. Ha'un woke up slowly. Her head hurt, her mouth was dry. She tried to move, but her body felt heavy. When she opened her eyes, bright green light made her close them again. "The human is awake," said a voice. Ha'un tried again. This time she forced her eyes to stay open. She was lying on a table in a strange room. The walls looked wet, like they were covered in slime. Machines she had never seen before surrounded her. They made soft humming sounds. Tubes ran from the machines to her arms. She tried to sit up. Something pulled at her skin. She looked down and saw strange marks on her arms. They looked like tiny lines drawn under her skin. They glowed with faint blue light. "Do not move yet," said the voice again. Ha'un turned her head. A Vraxian stood beside her. This one was smaller than the soldiers who had captured her. Its skin changed colors like a rainbow. It had 6 fingers on each hand. "What did you do to me?" Ha'un asked. Her voice sounded weak. "Neural interface implants," the Vraxian said. "They connect your brain to our medical database. You will learn our ways quickly now." Ha'un felt sick. They had put something in her brain without asking. "How long have I been asleep?" 30 Earth days. A month. She had been unconscious for a whole month. "Where am I?" "Medical Research Station 7. I am Research Director Mox. You will assist me." Ha'un tried to sit up again. This time she managed it. The room spun for a moment, then steadied. "Assist you with what?" "Improving our medical techniques for human subjects," Mox said. "Many humans are being captured. We need better ways to keep them alive for study." The thought made Ha'un angry. "I won't help you hurt people." Mox's skin turned dark blue. "You misunderstand. Dead subjects are useless for research. We want them alive and healthy. What if I refuse to help?" "Then we will study your body directly. Your choice, Dr. Kim. Ha-Un knew what that meant. They would cut her open and examine her organs. She would die. I'll help, she said quietly. But I won't hurt anyone. Acceptable, Mock said. Rest now. Tomorrow your work begins. The next day, 2 Vraxian guards took Ha-Un to a large laboratory. Inside were 6 human prisoners. They lay on tables similar to the one Ha-Un had woken up on. They had injuries from the war. Burns, broken bones, internal bleeding. Mock stood in the center of the room. Heal them, the alien said. Use our methods. Ha-Un approached the first patient, a young man with severe burns on his chest and arms. On Earth, she would have cleaned the wounds, applied artificial skin, and given him pain medication, but she didn't have those things here. I don't know your methods, she said to Mox. The alien handed her a small container. Inside was something that looked like a blue slug. This is a healing symbiont. It will repair damaged tissue. Ha-Un looked at the slug with disgust. You want me to put that on him? Yes. The neural implants will show you how. Suddenly, Ha-Un felt a strange sensation in her head. Images appeared in her mind. She saw how to program the symbiont with her fingers, how to place it on the wound, how it would enter the body and repair damage from inside. It was amazing technology. The symbiont would work faster than any human medicine. The patient would heal in days instead of weeks. Ha-Un followed the instructions in her mind. She placed the symbiont on the burned skin. It seemed to melt into the wound. The patient gasped, then relaxed as pain left his face. Good, Mock said. Now the others. Day after day, Ha-Un worked in the laboratory. She learned more Vraxian medical techniques. The neural implants fed information to her brain while she slept. She learned that Vraxian medicine used living organisms instead of drugs and tools. These organisms could be programmed to do almost anything inside the body. Ha-Un hated to admit it, but the technology was brilliant. The symbionts could repair injuries that would be fatal with human medicine. They could regrow limbs. They could even improve the body in ways that seemed impossible. But there was a dark side to Vraxian medicine. They did not care about pain. They saw it as unimportant. They experimented on living subjects without asking. And worst of all, they were creating biological weapons designed to kill humans in horrible ways. 3 months after her capture, Ha-Un was treating a human soldier with a broken spine. The implants told her how to use a special symbiont that would reconnect the nerves. The soldier would walk again. As she worked, Mox entered with 2 military officers. Your progress is impressive, Mox said. You have mastered techniques that take Vraxian students years to learn. Thank you, Ha-Un said carefully. She had learned to be polite to the aliens. It made her life easier. You are ready for fieldwork now, Mox continued. Fieldwork? Yes. The war continues. You will join the 17th Legion as they attack the human colony at Proxima Centauri. Ha-Un's hands froze over her patient. You want me to help you fight humans? We want you to keep our soldiers alive, one of the officers said. Your knowledge of human and Vraxian medicine makes you valuable. Ha-Un wanted to refuse. But she knew what would happen if she did. They would kill her and find another doctor to force into service. When do we leave? She asked. Tomorrow. Prepare your medical supplies. That night, alone in her small cell, Ha-Un cried for the first time since her capture. She had become good at Vraxian medicine. Too good. Now they wanted her to use that skill to help them win the war against her own people. She looked at the implants glowing under her skin. They connected her to the Vraxian medical database. She had learned so much from it. But maybe there was more to learn. Maybe there were things in that database that the Vraxians had not meant to show her. Ha-Un closed her eyes and focused on the implants. She had discovered that she could use them to access the database while awake, not just during sleep training. She searched through the vast library of Vraxian medical knowledge, looking for anything that might help her. Hours passed as Ha-Un explored the database. She found information about Vraxian biology that surprised her. Their bodies were not so different from human bodies. They had weaknesses, vulnerabilities. An idea began to form in her mind, a dangerous idea. The Vraxians had taken her because they wanted her medical knowledge. They had put implants in her brain so she could learn their medicine. They thought they were turning her into a tool they could use. But what if she turned their medicine against them? Ha-Yun knew it would be risky. If they caught her, they would kill her. But she was already a prisoner in a war that might never end. She had nothing to lose. As the ship traveled toward the battlefield, Ha-Yun made a decision. She would become the doctor the Vraxians wanted. She would heal their wounded and earn their trust. But secretly she would study their weaknesses. She would find a way to use their own medicine to defeat them. If the Vraxians wanted to create a weapon, then that was what she would become. A human weapon disguised as a healer, the most dangerous kind of all. The battlefield was loud and scary. Explosions shook the ground, smoke filled the air. Ha-Yun moved quickly between injured Vraxian soldiers. Her hands worked fast, applying healing symbionts to wounds. 6 months had passed since her capture. She was now a field medic for the Vraxian 17th Legion. "Human doctor, here." A Vraxian commander waved at her. He pointed to a soldier on the ground. The soldier was badly hurt. Blue fluid leaked from cracks in his armor. Ha-Yun knelt beside the wounded alien. Her implants scanned the injury. The soldier had damage to his breathing organs and was bleeding inside. Without help, he would die soon. Ha-Yun opened her medical kit. She took out a symbiont. It looked like a small blue worm. Her fingers moved over it in a special pattern, programming it to heal the specific injuries. The implants in her skin glowed as she worked. She placed the symbiont on the wound. It melted through the cracked armor and into the Vraxian's body. Within seconds, the blue bleeding slowed. "Will he live?" the commander asked. "Yes," Ha-Yun replied, "but keep him out of fighting for 2 days." The commander made a gesture with his 4-fingered hand. It was a sign of respect. "You have saved many of my soldiers, human. You are skilled with our medicine." Ha-Yun nodded. She had become very good at Vraxian healing. Too good, some might say. The aliens now trusted her with their wounded. They believed she was helping them win the war. They did not know her true plan. Each time Ha-Yun treated a Vraxian, she learned more about their bodies. Each time she programmed a symbiont, she made small changes to it. Nothing that would harm the soldiers she treated. That would break her oath as a doctor. But changes that helped her understand Vraxian biology better. She was mapping their weaknesses. At night, when the aliens thought she was sleeping, Ha-Yun used her neural implants to explore the Vraxian medical database. She had discovered parts of it that research director Mox had never shown her, parts that contained secret information about Vraxian biology. She learned that the healing symbionts could do more than just repair damage. They could be programmed to change the body. The Vraxian military leaders already used special symbionts to make themselves stronger and faster, but there were other possibilities. The symbionts could change brain chemistry. They could alter how the body worked. They could even spread from one Vraxian to another, like a disease. Meanwhile, the war grew worse. Earth was losing. Human colonies fell one by one to the Vraxian forces. Ha-Yun heard the alien commanders talking about a final attack. They planned to strike Earth itself soon. Time was running out. Ha-Yun needed to act. Her chance came during a big battle near Tau Ceti. A Vraxian battleship was hit by human weapons. Many Vraxians were hurt. Ha-Yun was sent to the ship to help with the wounded. In the confusion of battle, she found herself alone in the medical center. No one was watching her. She went to the symbiont storage room. This was where all the healing organisms were kept before being sent to the battlefield. Ha-Yun worked quickly. Her hands moved over the controls of the symbiont tanks. She programmed a small change into all the new symbionts. It was a change that would make any Vraxian treated with these symbionts sensitive to a specific type of energy wave. A back door, a way to defeat them later. She had just finished when Director Mox entered the room. "What are you doing, Doctor?" "Kim," Mox asked. The scientist's skin changed to a suspicious red color. Ha-Yun turned calmly. "I am improving the symbionts for battle injuries. We are seeing more damage to blood vessels in this fight." Mox came closer and checked the symbiont tanks. Ha-Yun held her breath. Had the alien noticed the changes she made? After a moment, Mok stepped back. Your work is good. I did not expect you to take such initiative. I am a doctor, Ha-Yun said simply. I want to save lives. Indeed. Mok studied her with all four eyes. The High Command has noticed your skills. You are being moved to the main ship for the attack. On Earth. Ha-Yun tried to hide her excitement. The main ship was where the Vraxian leaders were. When do I go? Now. Gather your things. As Ha-Yun collected her medical supplies, she activated a special function in her neural implants. It was a function the Vraxians did not know she had discovered. She could send messages with it. She sent a coded message toward a human scout ship she had seen during the battle. The message contained everything she had learned about the planned attack on Earth. It also included the specific energy frequency that would affect Vraxians treated with her modified symbionts. She did not know if anyone would receive her message, but she had to try. As she boarded the shuttle to the main Vraxian ship, Ha-Yun thought about what she had done. She had created what was basically a weapon. It went against everything she believed as a doctor. Doctors were supposed to heal, not harm, but the Vraxians had given her no choice. They had taken her prisoner. They had put things in her brain without asking. They were using her skills to help them win a war against her own people. And soon, they would attack Earth. Sometimes, Ha-Yun thought, healing required difficult choices. Sometimes you had to cause some pain to prevent greater suffering. The shuttle docked with the main Vraxian ship. It was huge, bigger than any ship Ha-Yun had ever seen. As she stepped off the shuttle, a tall Vraxian in black armor greeted her. I am General Krav, he said. You will report directly to me now, human doctor. Yes, General, Ha-Yun replied. She kept her face neutral, hiding her true feelings. Your reputation is impressive, Krav said as they walked through the ship. They say you heal better than our own doctors. I have learned much from Vraxian medicine, Ha-Yun said carefully. Good. Because soon we will need every advantage. Krav stopped and looked down at her. The final attack begins in 3 days. Earth will fall, and humans will serve the Dominion. Ha-Yun nodded as if agreeing. Inside she felt both fear and determination. 3 days was not much time. She needed to find a way to use her position on the main ship to help Earth. That night, in her new quarters, Ha-Yun looked at her reflection in a small mirror. She hardly recognized herself. Her face was thinner. Her eyes were harder. The neural implants under her skin glowed through her arms and neck, making patterns like blue veins. She was not the same person who had been captured from the medical ship all those months ago. That woman had been just a doctor. Now she was something more. Something dangerous. The Vraxians had wanted to turn her into a weapon they could use. Instead, she had become a weapon against them. Ha-Yun touched the glowing lines under her skin. 3 days until the attack on Earth. 3 days to find a way to save her world. She would be ready. The Vraxian flagship Inevitable Dominance was an amazing sight. Ha-Yun had been aboard for 2 days. The ship was not built like human ships. It was grown. The walls looked like skin. The floors pulsed like they were breathing. Lights glowed from within the walls. It was like being inside a living thing. Ha-Yun had her own room now. It was small but private. The Vraxians trusted her. They thought she was on their side. Little did they know that she was looking for ways to stop their attack on Earth. On her second day, Ha-Yun was called to meet Grand Admiral Vesk. He was the leader of all Vraxian forces, the most important alien in the entire fleet. 2 guards took her to a large room at the top of the ship. Inside, the walls were clear like glass. She could see space outside with thousands of Vraxian ships stretching as far as she could see. It was the invasion fleet, preparing to attack Earth. Admiral Vesk stood in the center of the room. He was much taller than other Vraxians, almost 3 meters high. His skin was dark blue with patterns that shifted like clouds. His 4 eyes glowed bright yellow. Dr. Kim, Vesk said. His translator made his clicking language sound flat. I have heard much about you. Ha-Yun bowed slightly. She had learned that Vraxians respected this gesture. "Admiral," she said simply. Vesk walked around her slowly. "You have adapted well to our ways. Some would say too well." Ha-Yun kept her face calm. Had they discovered her plan? "Medicine is the same for all species, Admiral. We all bleed. We all heal." "Do we?" Vesk stopped in front of her. "Director, Mox tells me you have learned techniques no human should know, things we did not teach you." Ha-Yun's heart beat faster. The implants under her skin throbbed in response to her fear. "The neural implants connected me to your medical database. I studied to be more useful." "The implants had limits," Vesk said, "or so we thought." A screen appeared in the air between them. It showed recordings of Ha-Yun working in various medical facilities, treating patients, programming symbionts, accessing data systems. She looked too skilled, too comfortable with Vraxian technology. "Strange behavior for someone taken against their will," Vesk said. Ha-Yun decided to be honest. Maybe it would save her life. "I am a doctor first, Admiral. When someone is hurt in front of me, I help them, even if they are my enemy. That does not mean I have forgotten who I am." Vesk made a strange sound. The translator could not process it, but it sounded almost like laughter. "Who you are is exactly what interests me, Dr. Kim. You heal our warriors while secretly working against us." He touched a control and another screen appeared. It showed Ha-Yun sending her secret message during the battle at Tau Ceti. Ha-Yun felt cold fear. "You knew." "Of course. Did you think we would not notice such a transmission? The question is, not whether you betrayed us, but why we allowed it." Ha-Yun was confused. "I don't understand." Vesk's body shifted. Plates of armor moving in what Ha-Yun had learned was a gesture of revelation. "The war against humans was never meant to be won, Dr. Kim. It was meant to force change." The room around them changed. The walls became completely clear, showing the vast fleet surrounding them. Thousands of ships ready for war. "The Vraxian Dominion has conquered 17 species across 9 star systems," Vesk continued. "Each victory made us stronger. We took their knowledge, their technology, their biological advantages. But each conquest also made us more predictable." "You wanted a worthy enemy," Ha-Yun realized. "Someone who would force you to adapt. Yes? Humans are remarkably resilient. Creative. Unpredictable. Like you, Dr. Kim." Vesk's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Your warning will allow Earth to prepare a defense using the weakness you created in our medical symbionts. The coming battle will remove our weakest elements and force our survivors to evolve." Ha-Yun felt sick. "You're sacrificing your own people." "We are strengthening our species," Vesk corrected. "And you have played your part perfectly. The human who mastered Vraxian medicine better than the Vraxians themselves. A sign of what our species might achieve together. Together, you've been killing us by the millions. A necessary step. But the next phase requires cooperation, not conflict." Vesk held out a hand with 6 fingers. "Join me willingly, Dr. Kim. Help me create a new future for both our species." Ha-Yun stared at the offered hand. Her mind raced. Everything she had done had been predicted, even encouraged. She had thought she was clever, but she had been used from the beginning. Or had she? The neural implants under her skin suddenly felt warm. She had indeed learned more than the Vraxians intended, including one critical piece of information they never meant to share. Ha-Yun looked up at Admiral Vesk. "You're right that I've adapted, Admiral. But you've underestimated how much." With a thought, she activated the full power of her neural implants. Information flooded her mind. Not just medical data, but ship systems, communication networks, weapon controls. The Vraxians had connected her to their network more completely than they knew. She had spent months mapping those connections, waiting for this moment. Vesk must have sensed something was wrong. His body flared in alarm. "Stop her," he commanded. But it was too late. Ha-Yun had already sent a signal through her implants. It triggered the modified symbionts now present in every Vraxian who had received medical treatment in the past 3 weeks, including Admiral Vesk himself. The effect was immediate but subtle. The symbionts did not harm their hosts. They did not need to. They simply disrupted the connection between the Vraxians and their living technology. Throughout the flagship, systems began to fail, lights flickered, doors opened and closed on their own. The living ship became confused, unable to tell friend from foe. "What have you done?" Vesk demanded. His translator glitched, making his voice sound strange. Hayun stood tall. "Shown you what true adaptation looks like, Admiral. You wanted me to become the perfect mix of human intuition and Vraxian knowledge. You succeeded." Alarms sounded throughout the ship. Hayun took control of the communication systems. It was time to send a message not just to Earth, but to every Vraxian vessel in the fleet. The guards moved to grab her, but their armor suddenly locked up. They could not move. "Listen carefully, Admiral," Hayun said. "I have temporarily disabled your control over your ships. I could have killed you all. That's what you would have done to us. But that's the difference between our species. I choose not to." She walked to the main control panel. Her implants guided her hands as she worked. "You said the next phase requires cooperation. I agree. But not on your terms." On screens throughout the fleet, Hayun's face appeared. She spoke to both Vraxians and the human prisoners they had taken. "This is Dr. Ha-Un Kim. I speak to both humans and Vraxians. The war ends today, not with victory or defeat, but with truth. The Vraxian leadership engineered this conflict to force evolution. They sacrificed millions of lives on both sides for their own goals. But there is another way." She looked directly at Vesk. "Admiral, your people have incredible medical knowledge. Humans have creativity and adaptability. Together we could heal instead of harm, build instead of destroy." Vesk stared at her, his 4 eyes wide with surprise. "You would offer peace, after all we have done?" "I am a doctor," Hayun said simply. "I heal, even the deepest wounds." As her message spread throughout the fleet, Hayun knew the future was uncertain. But for the first time since her capture, she felt hope. A hope that perhaps both species could adapt together. The war had transformed her. From doctor to prisoner to something new, the most feared physician alive. Not because she could harm, but because she understood both sides better than they understood themselves, and understanding was the first step toward healing. 5 years had passed since the day Hayun took control of the Vraxian flagship. 5 years since she had changed the course of the war. Now she stood by a large window in the Earth Vraxian Medical Academy. The building floated in space near Jupiter. Below her, the giant planet swirled with orange and white storms. "Dr. Kim, everyone is waiting for your speech," said Junho, her assistant. He was a young man with neural implants similar to hers, but Junho had chosen to receive his implants. He had not been forced like Hayun had been. Hayun nodded. She touched the front of her uniform. It combined styles from both Earth and Vraxian design. The neural implants under her skin had grown more complex over the years. Now they made patterns, up her neck and onto her face. Once she had hidden them. Now she displayed them proudly. "Is Director Mox here?" she asked. Junho checked his tablet. "Yes, along with representatives from Earth and 17 human colonies." "Good," Hayun said. "Let's not keep them waiting." They walked to the large meeting hall. Inside, hundreds of people sat in rows. Some were human, some were Vraxian. A small number were something new, a mix of both species, a result of genetic cooperation that had once seemed impossible. When Hayun stepped onto the stage, the room grew quiet. All eyes turned to her, some with respect, some with suspicion. 5 years ago, she began, I stood on a Vraxian ship with a choice. Continue a war that neither side truly wanted or force a change that would affect both our species forever. Hayun remembered that day clearly. After taking control of the Vraxian systems, she had broadcast the truth to both sides. The war had been manufactured by the Vraxian leadership to force their species to evolve. Millions had died for this plan. At first, chaos followed. Some Vraxian ships attacked others. Some human forces tried to take revenge, but enough people on both sides listened. A truce was formed. Talks began. Today, we celebrate the first graduating class of the United Medical Academy, Ha-Yun continued. 300 doctors trained in both human and Vraxian medicine, ready to serve wherever they are needed across our shared worlds. She looked at the students in the front rows. Their faces showed pride. Some were fully human, others Vraxian. Some represented the early results of genetic cooperation, beings with the strengths of both species. The path that brought us here was hard, Ha-Un said solemnly. Millions died in a war created to force evolution. I cannot justify those losses, but I can ensure they were not wasted. From the Vraxian section, Director Mox stood up. His skin changed colors in a formal pattern of respect. Dr. Kim speaks truth, Mox said. The Dominion's methods were wrong, but the outcome has exceeded our hopes. Our medical advances have extended Vraxian lives by 20% and cured 17 human diseases. Ha-Yun nodded in acknowledgement. Her relationship with Mox had changed greatly, from captor and prisoner to reluctant partners, and finally to something like colleagues. The Vraxian scientist had been one of the first to support cooperation after Ha-Yun's revelation. Today I announce the formation of the Interspecies Medical Response Team, Ha-Yun continued, a neutral group dedicated to providing care throughout known space regardless of species or politics. Murmurs spread through the crowd. This was a bold step. Volunteers from both Earth and the Dominion will form its core. We invite all species who wish to share their knowledge. No longer will medical advancement be a weapon or a secret. It will be our shared gift to the galaxy. As Ha-Un finished her speech, she caught her reflection in the podium. The woman looking back at her was not the same doctor who had been captured from the Mercy's hand years ago. That woman had been defined by an oath to do no harm. The person she had become was defined by something more complex. A commitment to healing that sometimes required causing pain. A vision of peace built through understanding rather than force. People called her by many names now. To humans, she was the betrayer redeemed, the captive who had turned enemy knowledge against its creators and forced peace when victory seemed impossible. To Vraxians, she was the evolutionary catalyst, the outsider who had broken their stagnation and opened new paths. But to her students, human and Vraxian alike, she was simply Dr. Kim. The physician who had taught them that adaptation was not just about survival, but about growth. That healing was not just about fixing damage, but about creating something stronger in its place. After the ceremony, Ha-Yun met with a small group of human and Vraxian leaders. They gathered in a private room to discuss the next phase of cooperation. The medical advances are impressive, said General Park, an Earth military leader. But many humans still fear the Vraxians. They remember the war, and many Vraxians question the wisdom of sharing our biological knowledge, added Subcommander Trell, a Vraxian officer. Some fear humans will use it against us one day. Ha-Yun listened carefully. The peace remained fragile. Trust built slowly, especially after such bitter conflict. Fear is natural, she said finally. But consider this. 5 years ago, I was a prisoner treated as a resource, not a person. Director Mox was my captor. We had every reason to hate each other. Now we work together to save lives. She rolled up her sleeve, revealing the neural implants that glowed beneath her skin. These were forced on me, a violation. Yet I turned them into a bridge between our species. I learned your medicine and used it to force peace instead of victory. Ha-Yun looked from human to Vraxian. We are not so different. We all bleed. We all heal. We all adapt. The question is whether we do so together or apart. Later, alone in her quarters, Ha-Yun reviewed files of new applicants to the academy. More came each year. Young humans and Vraxians eager to learn from each other, some even from other species who had heard about the program. A message appeared on her screen. A distant colony world reported a new disease affecting both humans and Vraxians. The interspecies medical team was requested. Hayun smiled. 5 years ago, such cooperation would have seemed impossible. Now it was simply the way forward. She had become the most feared physician alive. Not feared for her power to harm, but for her ability to transform. Feared because she had proven that healing was more powerful than destruction. That adaptation could be guided by compassion rather than conflict. As she prepared for the new mission, Haun thought about how far she had come from that operating room on the Mercy's Hand. She had been captured as a human doctor. She had become something more. A bridge between species. A healer of wounds both physical and historical. It was a legacy she could live with.